Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Texas Rangers franchise on MLB The Show 21 and the MSM Sports Network. And welcome also to the end of the month of September as you get a look at our record there, 82-77. And since we last talked when Texas beat Houston 9-5, the Rangers had a little bit of a rough month in September. It looked like it was going to be all smooth sailing through the final full month of the season, but that's not exactly what happened. Texas had an extremely successful week here in the second week of September, but they basically gave all those games back over the next 2 weeks. And Texas, not in the best form coming into their final two series of the regular season. They lost to the Angels 10-3 in the first game, but then thankfully rebounded against the Halos in Games 2 and Game 3. Young had a great performance there in Game 2, and then Hunter Wood won the final game out of the bullpen. So Texas sits at 82-77, heading into their final series of the year, and it may be the biggest that they could possibly ask for. They're taking on the Cleveland Indians, who are also in the running for a postseason berth. Give you a look at the standings. The Houston Astros have already won the division, 101-58. They've had a phenomenal season. The Twins, a very good season. They win the Central, and the Yankees are trying to get to 100 wins. They sit at 98 right now. That's a look at the National League wild card. We'll see what happens there as the Padres suddenly in danger of missing the postseason. They had a rough month of September as well. The Dodgers are far and away the best team in Major League Baseball. They have not only clinched the division, but the number one seed in the NL as well. The National League Central is still up for grabs. The Brewers and the Cardinals with just one game of separation, and the Braves have taken the National League East. But that brings us to the main storyline for this episode, and that's the Rangers trying to clinch not just a wild card berth, but also home field advantage in the wild card game. It's an interesting situation to say the least. Texas has a one-game lead over the Boston Red Sox, a team that they own the series tiebreaker against after a surprising 2021 campaign in which the Rangers really owned Boston. You look at the Indians, they're 2 games back, and of course with just one loss, they will be eliminated from the postseason contention. So that means that Texas just has to take one of 3 games against the Indians to ensure that we're in the postseason. If we can win the series, we also clinch home field advantage. Now, as you know, I've really considered how I wanted to present various episodes in this series, and I think that varying it up, whether it be full episodes, play-by-play, post-game like recaps, or even quick managing, is kind of the way that you keep these series interesting. And what I'm going to do over the next 3 games is quick manage our series against the Angels and hit the highlights, see basically inning by inning who does what and how Texas eventually, hopefully, secures their spot in the postseason. Now, technically, if we were to lose all 3 games, we would be eliminated from the postseason contention. So we have not locked up our bid as of yet. But what I want to do is go game by game. And of course, if Texas is about to clinch the postseason, we'll obviously play that. But I think this is probably the most entertaining way to do it. Also, the quickest way to do it, to be honest. So let's get into game 1. Wes Benjamin going to the mound for Texas. And unfortunately for the Rangers, they're not coming off of an off day. They've had a number of games where they've played in a row, and it's showing a little bit. You see that David Dahl needs to be the designated hitter today. We could sub in some guys, but at the end of the day, I really want to win this game, lock up our postseason contention, and then we can sub in some of the other guys, the younger prospects, over the next 2 games if we need to. So we'll get into this one, and it's Wes Benjamin on the mound for Texas. He's 4-3 with a 3.82 ERA. We need him to be nails if we want to take home field advantage. Unfortunately, he gives up 1 there in the top of the first after a walk in a hit by pitch. So his team already behind the 8 ball. They don't do anything in the first. Can they do anything in the second? Well, no, they weren't able to. We keep progressing through this one, and a couple of hits, and then a run scored in the top of the third for the Indians. Michael King goes back to the mound with a 2-run advantage. Anderson Tejada, though, would open up the scoring for Texas with a solo shot. Texas unable to do anything in the rest of that inning. Josh Naylor, followed by Bo Naylor, will ultimately result in a run. Ahmed Rosario knocks another one in, and Texas right back down by 2. Wes Benjamin nearing the end of his run, and we'll go ahead and sub in Kyle Cody. Cody, an up and down campaign, but at the end of the day, he's got plenty of energy, and we need a little bit of help. Texas just not able to get anything going against Michael King right now. He's pitched well, only allowing 3 hits as Tejada gets on base, but he's immediately erased by the double play. Cesar Hernandez going to add an insurance run there. It's 4-1 Cleveland, and the inning looks like it's going to keep continuing. Ben Gamel up to the plate now. We're going to go with the lefty and Taylor Hearn, and he immediately gives up a 3-run homer. The Indians well on their way to winning this one. Taylor Hearn just trying to get out of the inning, and he can't. We tried our best to get him out. I want to save my big bullets for the next game now at this point, and actually I'm going to start subbing guys out. I think that the guys that need energy the most need to get this second day of rest. We'll leave Willie in the game right now. We'll leave Sam in as well, but basically anyone that I can get out of the game right now, I think we need to do it. We don't have a shot at winning this. It's obviously a 12-1 ball game, and the Indians are going to keep piling it on there. David Dahl, we're certainly going to get him out. He needed a day off to begin with. Bring Eli White in. But Texas just struggling at the plate. Triple there for Kiner Falefa. We leave him on base, though, and we're going to have to burn Joe Palumbo. Joe's going to have to get out of this despite giving up the runs. Can he get out? Yes, he can. 16 runs on 20 hits, though, for the Indians. I think they want to make the postseason. There's no doubt about that, and they take it to Texas in Game 1. So the Indians now just 1 game back of postseason contention with a convincing win over Texas. The Red Sox at 81-79. We're at 82-78. Show you who Boston is playing, by the way. Boston taking on the Nationals in a very odd cross-league series to end the season. I don't like this one bit. I think that all final series should be within their divisions. And for whatever reason, MLB did not do that this year. Boston loses a heartbreaker 12-11. Boston scored 7 runs in the 9th, but ultimately couldn't come back. So they need to win this series if they want to make it to the postseason. And how about that? Kyle Gibson on the mound for the Nationals, trying to break Boston's hearts and keep his old team, Texas, squarely in playoff contention. So we go to Game 2 of the series, and it's Dane Dunning on the mound. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to sub some guys in. Guys like Isaiah Kiner Falefa are just really, really tired at this point. Also needed to rework the lineup, as Adolis Garcia had not been hitting the ball all that well. We're going to load up in lefties at the beginning, and I actually decided to go ahead and give Jason Martin the start in center field just to give Adolis another day off. He wasn't hitting the ball all that well, and I just decided, you know what? Let's go ahead and give Martin a chance. He's got 2 home runs on the season. Maybe he can add a little bit of spark for us in Game 2. So Dunning would take the mound, 7-8, a 3.68 ERA, and he had a good first inning, 3 up, 3 down. Texas now trying to get anything going early on. We saw how quickly the Indians started in the last game. Nate Lowe, the first base runner for Texas, but he can't do anything. Dunning through 3 scoreless now as the Rangers go to the bottom of the order and then back to the top. Texas, though, does not have a base hit. Thankfully, though, Cleveland only has 1 as Shane Bieber continues to deal. Texas is in a little bit of a tough spot here. They need a win. Just 1 win will do it. Dunning keeps it scoreless through 5. Manuel Margot breaks up the no-hitter in the 5th, but Martin grounds into a double play. Texas trying to escape here in the 6th. Bases loaded against Miguel and Duhar, and the Rangers are going to go to Matt Bush. They need to get out of this inning. Unfortunately, though, the Indians score. Down 1-0. Texas does not have a run. Another error committed by a defense that has not played all that well. Texas suddenly is looking down the barrel of a game 163. Hunter Wood gives up a leadoff triple. He doesn't allow him to score, though. To the bottom of the 8th we go, looking for any sort of offense, and it's not there for the taking. Rangers down 1, going into their last at bat. Nope, they're going to be down 2 against Shane Bieber, trying to complete not the perfect game, but the complete game. A couple of batters on. Nick Solak to the plate. He strikes out. Willie Calhoun strikes out, and David Dahl lines out, and the Indians take the series. So we look at the standings. The Red Sox and the Indians are tied for the second wild card spot right now. Texas holds a half-game lead over both of them, and as I mentioned, they hold the series as well. The offense has been non-existent, and it came down to game 162 in dramatic fashion for the Rangers as they don their powder blues. Kohei Arihara going to the mound with a playoff berth on the line. Arihara, who's had a very solid season this year, 8-6, 4.2 ERA. I think he's going to figure into our future plans. Can he leave an impression with the fans, though? No, he cannot. He gives up 3 in the first, and an offense that has already been taxed is behind the 8 ball. Willie Calhoun, though, gets one back. Texas down 3-1. But sac fly makes it 4-1, and to be honest, I may take Arihara out here if he continues to give up hits. He walks a man, gets through 3. Rangers in the bottom of the 3rd. Can they get anything going? They can. Nick Solak with a 2-run blast, and Texas is right back into the game. Arihara comes back out for the 4th and keeps it on a level playing field. David Dahl with a double, but the Rangers can't score him. We keep moving on. Tejada hit by a pitch. The Rangers the tying run on base. Solak with a single. Calhoun walks, and it's up to Trevino, who flies out. Arihara has figured things out. He's through 6. Texas looking for the tying run. David Dahl into a fielder's choice, and Texas squanders another opportunity. Left, right, left coming up, and we go to John King out of the bullpen, but he quickly gives up 2 hits and then a double play. He gets out of it. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa leads us off. Rangers can't do anything in the 7th. We're going to go back to Nick Vincent here, and he's successful through 7.5. Texas still trailing by 1. The Indians go to the bullpen for Kyle Nelson, who is only 1-3, but his ERA is sparkling. Can Texas get anything across? No, they can't. It's going to have to be a comeback in the 9th, and we're to the bottom of the 9th. Manuel Margot leads off, and it's against James Karinchak. Strikeout number 1. Tejada walks. A fielder's choice. It's up to Adolis Garcia, who singles. Nick Solak to the plate, and he strikes out. Against all the odds, the Cleveland Indians sweep the Texas Rangers. But, and we do not deserve this, the Rangers have made the wild card game. The Boston Red Sox were swept by the Washington Nationals. They finish 81-81, a game behind us and the Cleveland Indians. And just like that, Texas is into the postseason. Possibly the worst way to end a season ever and still make the playoffs. We tried in all 3 of these games, and Cleveland still managed to sweep us. An incredible run by Cleveland to even make the postseason. They had a terrific end to the month. Despite losing that series to Kansas City, They needed to sweep us, and that's exactly what they did. Not only did they sweep us and make the playoffs, but they also earned home field advantage against us, which, to be honest, after losing 3 at home against Cleveland, maybe a change of scenery is what's in store. So the next episode will be the wild card game. As you take a look at the playoff bracket there, Houston, the top seed in the American League, New York and the Twins will face off. That is just a gut-wrenching draw again for the Twins, who have never won a post series against the New York Yankees, a postseason series, I should say. The Brewers will play the Braves in the National League. The Dodgers unquestionably are the best team in baseball. They will face the winner of the Phillies and the Mets. Give you a look at the lineup and the way everyone finished up during the regular season. A solid year from Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, but Adolis Garcia kind of struggled down the stretch. It makes me wonder if the center field job will be open come spring training. Nick Solak had a career year, as did Willie Calhoun. Cannot wait to see how Willie continues to develop, and if that fielding can become at least okay, just borderline average, I think it's going to help us out quite a bit. Nate Lowe cooled off towards the end of the season, but he is without a doubt locked down first base going into next season. And David Dahl has claimed a spot in the outfield. 17 home runs, 48 RBIs, and he hit .320, a career year average-wise for David Dahl in 306 at-bats. And don't forget, he tore his calf in the middle part of the season. He missed 2.5 months. Look at what the bench bats did. Young hit 4 home runs, but the average is nothing really to sparkle at. Charlie Culberson, I think, has earned a 1-year contract at least going forward. And then Jose Trevino will certainly battle with Sam Huff for that starting catching spot. Here's how our pitching staff finished out, and there's a lot that's going to have to be addressed as far as the starting rotation goes this next season. For whatever reason, Dane Dunning is actually regressing as a pitcher. I did not expect that. He didn't have a bad year at all. He went 7-9 with an ERA that was under 4, and yet for whatever reason, he's not improving. He's actually regressing. Kohei Arihara, though, is progressing, and he had a very solid season. 8-7, ERA just over 4. I think he can possibly be a piece in this rotation moving forward. Yang was 7-13, a 3.56 ERA though. He pitched so much better than that record indicates. As I've mentioned several times, he just didn't get any run support. Wes Benjamin was solid as well, and Colby Allard certainly struggled. He oftentimes came out of the bullpen. Kyle Cody leads the bullpen off, and he was extremely inconsistent. An ERA over 6 leaves a lot to be desired. Both Hunter Wood and Taylor Hearn impressed me, and I think that Taylor Hearn for sure is going to get a look at a starting spot next season, although that stamina is only down to 44, so maybe he just stays as a middle relief guy. Joe Palumbo got hit around a bunch. Two guys that I did not expect to have really good seasons were Nick Vincent and Matt Bush. Now, Vincent will not be back next season. He's 34, and his overall is plummeting like a sinking stone. But for this year, he's certainly done his job and has a chance to play postseason baseball. Matt Bush, on the other hand, maybe could make a return, although his ratings are also making a nosedive, so we'll see what we end up doing there. Spencer Patton, at 33 years of age, I think has a future in this bullpen, at least for next season, and then we'll see about Brett Martin as well. Well, in the next episode, it's going to be all about the wild card game. Can the Texas Rangers win against the Cleveland Indians, or does our ice-cold stretch continue? It's going to be tough as we'll play Shane Bieber, who went 16-8, an ERA at 2.08. I haven't totally decided if we're going to pitch Dane Dunning or not. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Who should I pitch in this final game of the 2021 season, very potentially? Should we give it to Dane Dunning or ride with someone else? Maybe like a Kohei Arihara. Let me know what your thoughts are, and leave a like and comment if you made it this far in the video. I definitely appreciate the feedback. We've got a big one next episode, and I can't wait to get into it. Until next time, so long, everybody.